welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. This is Brent Cousins reporting from the Hollywood Hills. The Bugosphere is back in Colombia, and we got two videos. It's going to be an exciting evening right here at Third Phase of Moon, so you know what to do. Smash that thumbs up. Let's get this YouTube algorithm kicking off. Okay, let's go to the first video that just came into Third Phase. This is incredible. We're seeing the Bugosphere again in Colombia performing these odd moves. Let's just take a look at this. All right, let's roll this again. This is incredible. The Bugosphere is making its rounds and everybody's intrigued. We're looking at something kind of special coming out of Colombia. Again, we shared this video almost a month ago of the Bugosphere, and somebody actually, this thing crashed and somebody actually picked it up. It's being, studied by scientists there in Mexico. Now we're getting two videos that just dropped today. It looks like this was captured from some farm worker named Don and Mario, and they're just there with their tractor and their colleagues in this rural area, according to Don, and suddenly they notice this sphere again floating up, the Bugosphere, in the same area. Is there multiple objects like this? It seems so, and they're observing the strange qualities of this. Look how this thing is moving. Look, it just remains stationary at this one moment, maybe about 25 feet off the ground. Then it just seems to create this fast propulsion to the left, and it seems to just take off, like with a sense of purpose. It's just badass footage. I'm digging this so much. And then he pulls back, and then it's off at the distance, maybe about 100 yards, 150. You just saw how it just dipped down to the lower plane over there. Now it's just doing, again, these erratic maneuvers that really don't make any sense. Then it just pretty much it just flies right over their head. They're getting a good vantage point of this thing. It's a little struggle to capture it, but in my opinion, this is 100% legitimate footage. No AI, no CGI. Now let's take a couple stills off the video here. We do got a second video coming up, so this is just one of the videos that just dropped today out of Colombia right now, and now we're getting a good look at the sphere. You can see maybe a line right in the center. It kind of matches the one that's making the rounds, that's on the table, that's in scientists' hands right now, and we see that kind of ridge. You see the ridge, incredible. And then you see that kind of maybe the markings, incredible. This actually leads more credence to the video and the ball itself that's been recovered. Look at this, the detail. Look at the one to the right that was just captured recently, about a month ago. Now look to the one to the left. It's almost an exact duplicate, basically a twin of the same object. This is wild. Everybody's got people are on the fence. They're not sure what to make of this. Some people think it's a hoax, and this is a big setup, and Jaime's, you can't trust Jaime. I'm not sure. There's a little sense to all of that, but right now we're getting, again, two videos that just dropped today, and it looks like the same object, and it's doing pretty much the same maneuvers as exactly what we just showcased about a month ago with these incredible videos. A stainless, basically steel ball with these hieroglyphs on there, and it was just recovered. Now we're looking at look at this thing. It's moving. It seems like it has its own means of propulsion, but you don't see any. And it's wild. Look how I'm tracking this right now. Look how it just dipped down. Okay, let's just run that track again on the close-up, because it kind of gives, again, this sense of reality that something's going on. Look how it's just floating there. This is, again, not fake. There's no CGI or AI. Look how it just takes off. Can anybody in the chat room explain how it did that? Is there a gust of wind? I don't see it. The trees aren't even blowing. Everything seems to be remaining calm, and then this thing just kind of takes a direct dip straight down and just makes it stalls out right above the ground there. It kind of did this nice little bounce, like it bounced off air itself. It's really weird. Okay, I'm gonna roll the second video that just came in from Colombia, and we're going to take a look at this and analyze this as well, because both videos are just as fascinating as this one that we're looking at right here. So let's just roll the next clip. I got it in queue. Everybody smash that thumbs up if you're enjoying this episode. Let's go. Let's roll the next clip. All right, this is badass. So we're getting two clips of the Boogosphere that was captured in Colombia just basically within the past 24 hours. And we're looking at something fantastic out there in some field, sugar mill, I believe. But we're looking at this object, the second angle, proving that this is legit. And it just makes you wonder what in the hell is going on in Colombia. I want one of these things, and it seems like they're everywhere. These things are being grabbed, they're crashing to the ground, and now we're seeing more video evidence of these things just surrounding this area, this region, the South American region. This is incredible footage. You see that he's trying to, pick up on it. He's having a hard time, and then it just gets back in frame. Let's just see what it does again. Let's just see how this thing just kind of stops on a dime. There it goes. It just kind of freezes there. It's at some distance. Again, about maybe, this is about 2 football fields, I'd imagine. I'm going to get a close-up on this and do a little enhancement. There we go. It's a little hard to track. He's shaking it. Even this guy is having a little hard time grabbing it, and it goes in and out of focus, but that's okay because we're looking at something real. And, some people, it's not the easiest thing. These guys aren't professional cameramen. They're just average people out there. They got a pocket phone, and boom, they see something strange and they're filming it. It looks metallic. Again, the second video, it just came in from Don, and he basically realized the second one was in the area, and he immediately began to record again. I guess they're saying that there might be 2 of these. Are these 2 separate Boogospheres? Wow, that'd be amazing. Again, I'm thinking they're kind of a swarm of these kind of vehicles, these spherical objects that look metallic. They look really heavy, and you don't see no prop propellers. This isn't your drone. This is no balloon. This is something showcasing means of propulsion that I'm not familiar with. Look how it just did that bank. This is not a balloon, guys. So smash that thumbs up. Let us know what you think in the comments. Do you think this is a legit? Because I sure do. Right here at Third Phase Moon, we're looking at something special. Okay, we just got some information from somebody that was on the Nimitz. Let's just hear what he has to say.
And so I'm touching everything on the ship, and I walk over to the starboard side, which is the right side of the ship, and I just kind of look around. There's a kind of a metal gangplank that runs down the side of the ship. And I look over that way, and there's a UFO just finishing coming out of the water. And it goes about 40 feet above the water and just sits there. And this was not, and all I had ever heard about at this time in my life was flying saucers, round flying saucers, and these little orb things that every once in a while I just saw on a special. I pretty much thought anybody who said they saw a UFO was crazy, because I grew up in a church and they said aliens don't exist, and that was, part of, I don't know where they got that, because I've gone back to the Bible and tried to find it. So there's this, it wasn't round, it wasn't an orb, it was, what I saw was square. I mean, the ship itself, I'm pretty sure was a triangle, but I couldn't see the whole thing. But the side I saw was 40 to 50 yards high, larger than the Nimitz long. This is what I saw. It was about 300 yards to maybe a mile off the starboard side of the Nimitz up front. Part of it was obstructed by the tower of the Nimitz. And everybody I've talked to, they're like, well, expand on it. Tell me more. I can't tell you more. I stared at it for a half an hour. I mean, every sensation I ever had in my life went away. I just stared at it. I mean, what do you do when you see a block floating in the ocean? And underneath it, there was, the ocean was lit up, but there were not, it wasn't like there was these round light spots on it. It just was illuminated. I just stared at it. I don't know what else to say. Everybody, last night I got inundated by all these people thanking me for telling my story, and I'm like, my story's not a big deal. I stared at something for half an hour. I mean, it's a big deal, but it's not like I can't expand on it. I didn't see little windows with little green men looking out it. It was solid. There were kind of pronounced lines down the ship. I do remember that. And the only reason I know it was a half hour, because I actually referred back to the logbooks. I actually looked at the logbooks for the ship, and then when I went up to the tower a couple days later, I wanted to see who was in flight ops, and found out that it was just the admiral, the captain, and the flight boss. But they were up there, which is 360 degrees glass, so they saw it.
All right, this was witnessed by this gentleman that was a crew on the Nimitz in 1991. Interesting stuff. We all know about the Nimitz and the Tic Tac, but this guy, his story is pretty extraordinary. Right now, he's talking about something that we may classify and relate to as the TR-3B, and this thing was massive. He said it was larger than the Nimitz ship itself. He said it was black. He thought it maybe could have been square because he couldn't see maybe the point of it in front. He goes into more details. We got more coming in from this whistleblower, and I like his delivery. I like the way he's talking about it. He seems real casual. He's pretty modest about his sighting, but what he actually experienced watching for a half an hour is extraordinary. Now, this reminds me of our encounter with the TR-3B, and we could describe the same thing. We could only see, you'd have to move your head from 1 degree of the sky basically to a 180 to the other side, because this thing was so massive, the size of basically 2 football fields. And they're real guys, seriously, they're out there, and this guy's basically proving in his opinion and what he saw leads me to believe that the TR-3B is there. It's interesting because the Nimitz was just standing by. There was no real engagement, and he's going to talk about more of the propulsion as this craft leaves a vicinity. He says it just goes in kind of the speed of light, and it doesn't disturb the water with any force. I like the way he also talked about that the craft was above the ocean water and he could see it illuminated. I kind of like that, but he said that there was no disturbance, and he just stared at this thing for an hour. We know the Nimitz, they have all sorts of, technologies, recording technologies, surveillance, radar. I'm sure they got this on video. They got it on all their systems, all their apparatus. Now, why don't they just share it with us? Because it's a cover-up. That's why they're not doing it. Okay, let's go with the next clip from this gentleman. I like this guy a lot. Let's just roll it.
I'm now convinced they knew it was there. But I just stared at it, and going back at it, I realized I stared at it for half an hour. It only took me about 5 minutes after this buzzing started to get up and look around and see it. We were actually on darkened ship for 41 minutes, And of course, after it left, there was about another 5 minutes before they unlocked the watertight door and I went in. But I just stared at it. I mean, I was thinking something, but it's not like I have a racy mind. You know, I'm thinking about what are my kids doing? There's always 50 thoughts in my head. I have this job to do that. My mind was blank. I mean, it was just totally blank. I was just sitting there looking at this thing floating above the Pacific Ocean off the starboard side of the most powerful, second most powerful, the Abraham at the time, just floating there. We weren't doing anything. Jets weren't being scrambled. We were just sitting there. The ship had almost stopped to a crawl. We were just sitting in the middle of the Pacific Ocean with this thing floating off the starboard side that was as big as us or larger. And I know I've said it. That's all I could do was look at it. And then towards the end, it kind of moved slightly, kind of almost like a turn, which is when I saw that there was an angle. And I want to say that it went up and disappeared because I think I saw it start to go up, but it was so fast that when I kind of noticed that upward motion, I looked up. And I'm a guy that's taken pictures of the SR-71 disappearing over the horizon. I did infrared imaging of it. I did spectral analysis, all this thing of this jet when it took off. That's a fast plane. You know, they say it goes Mach 3, it goes much faster. You can watch it go over the horizon like this. I couldn't watch this thing disappear. It was that fast. It was just there and gone. And the thing I remember the most is after looking up, I looked down at the water expecting this huge wake, you know, coming back at the Nimitz from whatever power, nothing. It was, the waves were doing, it was like.
All right, what's your take on this gentleman, this sailor from the Nimitz that explains a story from 1991 of this craft that was hovering over the water, over the ocean, basically the size of the Nimitz or even larger, and he just stared at this thing for basically a half an hour. I'm sure the Nimitz has, you know, they got their sensors, they got their radar, they got cameras, they got infrared, they got a crew. They're looking at this thing. We know that data has been processed and, you know, concealed because this is, in my opinion, information that has been suppressed. We know, I believe this guy. I believe the Nimitz. I believe Fravor. I believe Dietrich. I believe that they're seeing the Tic Tac, and it's all with regards to this battleship, and it's out there. And they've been experiencing UFOs pretty much more than any other battleship in our assets right now. And this guy's explaining details about this object that remains a mystery. The TR-3B. Is it ours? Is it some reverse engineered, unacknowledged program? Or is it possibly something otherworldly, or maybe something within our oceans? And they've been here all along. We just don't know, but there's a suppression going on. We know the information that was collected from the Nimitz of the Tic Tac, where it's at 80,000 feet, and this object drops basically at within seconds to the ocean level. This has been recorded and talked about, but the government has never released that data. This has been suppressed. People say, oh, the government says UFOs are here and the data is released. No, it hasn't been released. They took it away and hid it from us, so scientists and the people can't look at this data. It was taken, and people need to understand that. So just want to make sure everybody's having a good time here, because I like these kind of whistleblowers. These guys, this is what it's all about. This is what makes disclosure closer for all of us. And in my opinion, I believe this guy. What do you think? Smash that thumbs up if you're digging this guy's whistleblowing information. I think it's outstanding. But what's outstanding is this sphere that's been captured in Colombia, and now we got 2 videos. Possibly 2 of these things are captured in the same area over some, I think, a sugarcane mill. I'm not exactly sure, but these farmers recorded something. They had no agenda. They just see something strange up in the sky. They pull out their cell phone, and they're just amazed right now. And again, this is kind of a perfect example of what we just shared about a month ago, with something that crashed in the same area, and it's recovered. Scientists are looking at this thing. People are real skeptical about the Boogosphere, and they think it could possibly be a big hoax. I don't know. It doesn't look like one because I don't know how this thing's moving like that. It's not a drone. You don't see no prop propellers, and this thing's seem to be defying, conventional ways of motion and propulsion because we're not seeing any of that. Again, this is wild. What's your opinion on the Boogosphere? Is it a hoax or is it legitimate? And we're just rolling the two videos that just dropped to us, and I think it's incredible that we're looking at something that's making the rounds. And I believe this won't be the last time we see these metallic spheres over this region. Could this just be the beginning of these things? Again, let's just take another close-up look at this. It's just silver. And what I like about it is when we get a close-up, it really matches what we saw a month ago, which is you got this ridge right in the middle, and people say it might be man-made. Sure, it could be, but tell me how this thing's flying. That's a crazy part. Yeah, it could be man-made, great, but what's keeping this thing up in the air, and why is it moving that way, and what's the reason behind it? You can see again when we get a good close-up the ridge right in the center there that showcases something that was just captured again a month ago, and there it is. There's the connecting photo, and there it is, the one to the right that's in people's hands right there. That's basically an exact duplicate to the one on the left. Incredible. This is badass stuff right now, and I'm just kind of baffled, and I'm thinking that again, this isn't the last time we're gonna see this mystery right here. Look how it just banged. All right, I'm gonna let these videos roll. I want your opinion. I'm gonna be there in the chat room with you guys and just get this party started. Make sure to smash that thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, good to have you. It means a lot, and you're in good hands over here. We got a good community. The people in the comments, they're the best. People have their opinions, and that's just the way it goes. And we want all the comments, and we read every one of them because we appreciate all the fans joining us. And even if you have opinions about us, that's fine too. We're all in it together. We're just in it for disclosure, and we just want that one answer: are we alone? All right, let me just roll these videos out. I'm catch you right at the end of this. All right, it's been a fun episode hanging out with you guys. It's just, I I just get a kick every night. People are just submitting UFOs, and I just love putting it in this timeline and kind of watching it with all of you in real time. Blake is going to be back with Paula here pretty soon, and within a week or two, they're in Turkey. They're exploring. They got all sorts of new things to talk about when they get back. There's a possible, intervention of aliens. There's things that are built there that people have no clue how it's done, and it goes back for centuries. Tens of thousands of years. They're pretty much the oldest city and civilization in the world. So it's going to be cool to have Blake back here. But it's Brent Cousins reporting from the Hollywood Hills. You guys have a great time and be safe.
You're either on the side of the law or you're not.
The only way you're going to get to it is somebody at that executive level that says enough is enough. Cut the money off, bring these people in, let's go.
This is not to be talked about any further. And if you do, something can happen.
All we need is one to be accurate. And this whole concept of UFO crash retrieval non-existing completely falls apart.
Everybody wants to be in there. Can you give any kind of sneak peek of what that's like?
That organization has had the ability since the 60s to hit a button and simulate an alien attack on the planet using these technologies.
Serious questions that I've made a growing number of drone sightings.
How do you set up a believable false flag and operations that looks like it's alien when it isn't?
So when it happens, they're not shocked, they're not stunned. They can say, oh, we knew this was going to happen.
Which is potentially the most dangerous, where they're talking about quote unquote catastrophic disclosure.
They put it into secrecy, they deny, and then they shut the people up.
And the president doesn't know about. That is an existential threat to humanity.